These impressions are brought to you by Netflix. All right, so I got a chance to play, I would say 3 to 4 hours from the beginning of the new Thief from Eidos Montreal. Obviously, it's been 10 years since we've seen a Thief game that started with Looking Glass Studios. It's a beloved franchise and one that really influenced so many other games in the ensuing years. I've appreciated the fact that this Montreal team definitely has the burden of both history and the necessity of introducing a new audience to this franchise, and they've definitely had their work cut out for them. It suffered many, many delays, and there's a lot of rumors swirling around it. But the one thing I can say is, by all means, I wouldn't say it was perfect. I really, really enjoy playing it. I think one of the key things is that sense of setting. One of the big things that has happened in the last 10 years since we last had Thief 3 is that technology has improved, and the ability to render a more specific locale really, really is on display in Thief. I wouldn't say that the areas are all that big. In fact, it's still very last gen in terms of sort of the spaces and the hubs that you're in, but the detail inside of them, that kind of strange hybrid world that feels very medieval in one way, but then a lot more sophisticated with some of the technology as well. That level of articulation was one of the key things that really just kept me interested, and also the flow of the game. As much as I love the old Thief games, it really helped highlight for me that stealth games could just become slow games, that you're doing something you would do in other games and now you have to do it at a snail's pace. That is not the case. Maybe you're taking a cue from Dishonored, where Harvey Smith is a veteran of the Thief franchise. He's working on that one now, but a swooping mechanism helps kind of move you quickly through the area, going from one shadow to another. It's not as precise as something you got in Dishonored, but it once again gives that, it shows the understanding that just moving really slowly can become very tedious. The game itself also felt to have pacing that kept you engaged and kept you interested. Despite having many different ways that you can traverse the environment, you always felt that you were getting closer and closer to your goal, and it was actually quite fun to do that and discover all the secret routes. One thing that was worth noting is once you leave the prologue, you, even though you don't have a ton of money, you in theory can pretty much pick up all the famous equipment from Thief. Obviously water arrows, fire arrows, rope arrows, the blunt arrows, those are all there, and the game, that really indicates that the game is set up for you to figure out your own path and your own style of play. I think for most people, you're gonna play it stealthy. There is combat in the game, but it didn't feel very strong and dynamic. You pretty much just have kind of a blunt object that you can bonk somebody on the head with, and you can dodge. Almost every time that I got caught and I had to go into combat, I was in a hallway. So it's not like you're able to dodge to the side or forward even. You're just dodging back, and there will eventually be a wall against you. Almost every action encounter ended up in my death, and ghosting through the game really seemed to be the most satisfying way, and almost the way that the game seemed to be tailored to telling you how to play it. Now there is story. You play Garrett. There's some mysticism in it. I don't want to give too much away, but I gotta say its weakest elements was in the storytelling. There's a big cutscene that happens in the third person. It's a big sort of revelation at the end of the prologue. It was just kind of strange and awkward. It didn't look very good. The resolution seemed much lower than the actual gameplay itself. Additionally, there were some audio drops that happened in some other key moments that we really probably would have given a sense of greater drama to what was happening in front of me. This is still beta. It is not done yet, and these are things that hopefully can be very easily remedied. And I think the other kind of less than positive takeaway I had is you can see how this game has been in development for a long time. And while I did play it on the PlayStation 4, you could see that it was definitely stretching itself for the last generation and the higher resolution. And unfortunately, I think the 120 hertz that the TV was playing at really showed that these are sort of character models more indicative of something 3 years ago than something of the future. This is not the next gen game that we're looking for, but this looks like a really fun game and a great diversion as we start off 2014. And with that, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, Netflix. Netflix is the easiest and best way to watch movies and TV shows straight into your home. All you need is an internet connection and a Netflix-enabled device like a smartphone, tablet, or game console. Netflix is also the only way to watch their original shows like Orange is the New Black or the fantastic House of Cards. Best of all, you can support Red 3 Games and get a free trial membership by signing up at netflix.com/Red3Games.